Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan, and the market is strong. I mean, it's really strong. Over 6 billion in 24-hour volume for Bitcoin. We are green across the board. I am, cautiously optimistic. I have been in enough of these starts of a green across the board and only to see it go instantly red in a matter of moments. So I do have my fingers crossed that this is the start of something big. Okay. If you are interested in the Federal Reserve payments, there is a very interesting stream that is going to be live on this Fed link with the Federal Reserve Governor Laurel Brainard giving a speech on payments. So the Federal Reserve, they are really being pressured by a lot of different entities, including Congress, to get that faster payment system up and running. But there are also a divided opinion with people who feel it should be left in the hands of the private sector. And many banks feel it's going to compete with the $1 billion that have already been invested into the clearinghouse. For the XRP holders, this could be Ripple's big opportunity to get involved. So I know that there's a lot of XRP holders that are going to be watching this link and will probably get a lot of good news, interesting news at the least, in another 2 hours. And so I also want to share with you something that is being tracked by an XRP community member here in Japan. This is Tentatoshi. He's on Twitter. He's created a Google Doc where he's tracking the liquidity index for Bitso. Bitso last year in August was announced as a preferred Ripple liquidity partner. They can instantly convert in that Mexican peso channel XRP to the Mexican fiat, and then it can get settled into any destination. So if we see here, it is looking from the 1st of June to the 2nd of August, and surely you can see that there is a definite rise in volume. This very well could be the start, the slow start, the beginning of the big ramp up that's going to come from MoneyGram. They announced that they started to do those transfers with XRP in the Mexican corridor. And so, gosh, if this is the very beginning of the slow ramp, I can't wait to see the full-on big ramp. And David, on the 31st of July, tweeted this. I think this is worth repeating. So he says, say you need to make payments into lots of different fiat currencies, and you receive payments from lots of different fiat currencies. You can hold one single pile of XRP instead of lots of piles of different currencies. So this is why XRP is going to be able to solve that liquidity problem. Now, when we talk liquidity, it's a little bit different than the liquidity that is going to freeze if we have a financial crisis. This kind of liquidity is fiat liquidity. And because economists are bringing up warning signs, lenders are already starting to tighten their belts and scrutinize the quality of loans. Hence, a stop towards making liquidity so easy to get. Many companies, especially the small SMEs, they rely on those short-term loans to meet obligations. They are meeting things like bills, payroll, inventory. It's a part of the needed cash flow during their business cycles. So this is this is part of the crisis that could be very difficult to overcome this next time around, because we have seen, since 1776, we have seen 19 major crashes, recessions, and severe bear markets, but each one has been unique. And this one, should it happen, will be the first crash that has digital assets at hand. So that is going to be very, very interesting. In this video, I kind of want to discuss this in particularly focusing on XRP. Well, if we look at the worried people in the marketplace, the lenders are really maybe the first to give us those early signs. This is Lending Club. About a year and a half ago, I remember they were talking with Ashish Burla in San Francisco, and they are starting to really scrutinize those loans. So it's getting very difficult now to obtain capital for your business cycle if you are an SME. And the liquidity crunch, according to this article from June 27, 2019, it is already crunch time in regards to lending in India. And the World Economic Forum, this is an article from April 30th, 2019, they were citing in this article that the warning signs are approaching for the conditions to be ripe for another financial crisis, which will be followed by a global recession. So we're hearing it from all different sides of the people in the business industry. And today, this is really, I read this. This is not good news either. This is, in the last couple of days, we learned that there are 3 yields across the entire German bond market that have dipped below zero for the first time. So let me explain here, after we see, though, that the Grayscale group did do a study, and they think that Bitcoin is going to be a hedge against global liquidity crisis. Now, it could be. I don't deny that. I'm a little bit taken aback, though, when I see the connection or the dependency that Bitcoin has on Tether still, and Tether is tied to fiat. So I'm not sure it's going to be the very best answer to global liquidity. What I really see happening here is, because of the swelling U.S. corporate debt, it is raising the risk of the global financial meltdown. And let me explain. So simply speaking, when businesses raise capital, they do it to meet, like I said, payroll or expand their inventory, start new projects, etc. They can do it 2 different ways. The first way is they can go to a bank and get a loan, or they can use a line of credit and draw down off of that. Sometimes they can even use credit cards. This is called debt capital. The second way that these companies or businesses can raise money is to sell shares of stock or equity in their company. This is similar to what MoneyGram just did with Ripple. So for the first way, for that debt capital, loans are securitized. Then they become debt instruments. Those are created, they're rated, and they're sold. And the fixed income bonds are created with maturity dates. So the U.S. right now has $3 trillion in what is called the triple B rated bonds. And globally, there is $7 trillion. Well, in a downturn, you can see here, in a downturn, should those companies not be able to meet their obligations, then we have a default. And should that default be in the way of masses, those bonds become junk. And that is what we really need to worry about. So whether it's China that's slowing down, or it's the negative interest rates, or the global trade war, which we don't have a playbook for because it could really set us up for a wrong turn. It could be the overinflated stock market that suddenly deflates. I don't know. It could be a black swan event. We just don't know if that is coming. And so when you have 21% of the bonds that are considered junk today, and that is in a environment that we don't say we are officially in a global crisis, but 21% of the bonds today are considered junk. Compare that to the 9.6% that were junk right before the 2008 crisis. Credit quality of corporate debt, it has sharply declined, and I think it makes for a very slippery slope. So who is holding this triple B debt? Well, it's financial institutions. You can see here that they hold the lion's share. And if you can't refinance that debt as a company when it comes due, then liquidity freezes, and that brings on the liquidity crisis. So I want to point out to an article that was written in the European Business Magazine, July 23rd, 2019. It's a quarterly. It goes out to 26 countries, and it's a very good article about the use of XRP. Since the crisis of 2008, securing loans for commerce has remained difficult. For the incredible range of innovative financial products and services that are transforming the industry, cross-border payments are getting very much in the limelight because customers are getting louder. They want fast payments, they want cheap payments, and they want efficient payments. So EEB is staying one step ahead, and they are using XRapid in their partnership with Ripple, and it allows their clients in the trade finance space to source liquidity for cross-border trades and payments. So pre-funded local currency costs are high, and XRapid lowers that capital requirement. So no storing money in foreign accounts. This is why for cross-border payments that are expected to grow 74% by 2026, businesses and banks want to de-risk. So, especially in a liquidity crisis when interbank lending does not function properly and there is a shortage of cash, the last thing banks want to do is have idle cash sitting in pre-funded accounts. So should the liquidity crisis be a reality, XRP, in my opinion, will be in even higher demand. That is what I have to say on the news. So how about a little fluff? I am going to talk about Yukata. Yukata is the summertime kimono here. So I really hate summers in Japan, and yeah, I don't use that word hate very often. I should say dislike, but gosh, I really hate summer in Japan because it's like 95 degrees and 90% humidity. That's what it was today. It's tough. But on a positive side, we see these wonderful yukatas come out in the weekends, especially. When you go anywhere in Tokyo, you're going to see all ages dressed up in yukata, and they're lightweight kimono style, very casual, very cool. They have become very cool. It's very fashionable now to wear yukata out on a date or even to go shopping. Here you can see just on the streets of Tokyo, lots and lots of people are wearing yukata. Look at this couple. They are just, wow, sticky. That is just like fashionable cool. They are so, so cool. And then, yeah, you just can't help but want to take pictures because all of them are just such a great photo op. This is a good one. I like it a lot. And then if you do come to Japan, one of the places to really see some fun fashion in the summer is Harajuku. It is the capital of kawaii, which is the cute culture in Japan. And if you're lucky, you're going to be able to see one of the Tokyo-based accessory designers. Her name is Sumire. And Sumire is very unique. This is a picture actually of 2 years ago when her daughter Ivy was just 2 years old. But if you take a look at a picture that was taken a couple of days ago, I think it was taken on Friday, as a matter of fact, you can see now Ivy is 4 years old. So in Harajuku, Sumire is famous. She is the top of the fashion scene for those free thinkers and modern day Japanese. Harajuku is a place for art, boutiques, hairstylists, cosplay, vintage clothing, and it's a sweets paradise. It's the center of youth culture in Tokyo. I think it's a must-see place when you come. And even this branding that the two of them have done is amazing. So she has been able to brand her fashion, her fashionista capabilities, and she brings her daughter right along with it. And Ivy even has her own Instagram. It's kind of fun. Anyway, I hope you can enjoy that part of Tokyo. It's the modern Japanese that I think are so exciting because they are breaking the mold in a still traditional way. All right, everybody, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.